Hello, friends from the comic and manga world. My name is Hector,
And my name is G.
and we're here to talk to you about our picks for the June 6th, 2022 FOC. For those of you who don't know, G and I work for Penguin Random House, and we manage sales into the direct comic book market around the world. So the titles that we talked about on these videos are from the ones that we can actually sell into that con and represent. Um, first, I want to remind you that we do have some social medias. We have our YouTube channel, and we're going to keep adding some more content other than these videos. But also, we have Instagram and we have Facebook, and now we're going to get started with Twitter with PRH International Comics. We'll leave some links for you on the description below of this video. So let's get started.
So first up is my pick, which is Robin and Batman. And this is Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen, who are like a team that I absolutely love. I
Yeah,
mean, I I could I could talk
it's a
about
dream
them.
team. Yeah,
Oh, it's
definitely.
great. It's great. Um I so this is so well done. I
Hmm.
wish I had interiors for this to show, but it's beautiful to read through. As the title implies, this is Robin and Batman,
Yeah.
and it's young Dick Grayson who is just recently orphaned, dealing with that tragedy and trying to figure out and clearly struggling with how to become a superhero.
Hmm.
I really love this because you get to see the family dynamic between uh Bruce and Alfred and Dick Grayson, and you could see like how much of a struggle that is, but how much there's that love that they
Hmm.
have with each other. It's such a great story. It's short, 3 issues, but it's well worth the read, I think, and I'm so excited that this hardcover is coming out. So this will come out on August 16th.
Yeah, I want to add. This is also one of my favorites from last year. It's one of those that came out end of last year, beginning of this year.
Mhm.
And you were mentioning the art, and the art on that you see on this cover, that is the same sort of style art that you're going to see
Oh yeah,
throughout,
yeah,
which is very rare on comic books because sometimes you just get amazing beautiful art. Not that that the art inside is not as beautiful most of the time, but since it's more art, the artists tend to they have to cut a few corners, I guess. But this is the same. It's just your from cover to cover, it's beautiful.
hmm
And also about the story, that dynamic between Dick Grayson, like it's a story. I remember reading comments before the first issue came out of people saying online, "Oh, again, the story of Batman and Robin and Batman being young." It's like, but this is not the same kind of stories that's been
yeah,
told before.
hmm
This is very different. This is Dick Grayson dealing with trying to, gain Bruce Wayne's trust to go out on missions and making mistakes and learning from his mistakes. And there's a whole lot more. I don't want to ruin it for people who haven't read it because there's some surprises in here. There's a lot of heart. There's a lot of the funny stuff in it too. And it gets really dark in a couple of places too. And so you see the nice sides of Batman, but also kind of dark in it too.
yeah.
Again, I
And
don't want to ruin anything.
yeah, and you see the mistakes that Robin goes through, but then you also see the mistakes Batman
Yeah.
as like a parent,
Yeah.
basically, to Robin.
And you also you see something that you and I talked about, why Alfred is such an
Oh,
awesome character.
Alfred is he's such a good character.
Yes.
There's this like I cannot so throughout the year there are this, like there's always that
Hmm.
particular panel or series of panels that like stick with you,
Yeah.
and this is one of them. Like
Yeah.
I can't stop thinking about it, and it's that car scene.
Yeah.
And you have the car scene with Alfred, and then later on, or actually I think that the Batman one comes first. You have the car scene with
Yeah,
Bruce
you have the
and
one with
Thing.
Bruce, with Batman, or Bruce, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you have Alfred
Alfred. And then it's
and Dick in a car,
in
and the conversation is
the
just,
conversation, it's like
it's amazing.
it's so amazing. Like I just
Yeah.
can't stop
Yeah, yeah,
thinking
yeah.
that's such a wonderful scene. And I don't want to, like, you'll see what we mean if
Yeah,
you read
yeah.
through this. It's
You have
great.
to. You have to.
Yeah. Uh,
Awesome.
All right. Next up.
Excellent. Next is my pick. It's Princess Knight New Omnibus Edition, Osamu Tezuka. This is a trade paperback, 29.95. It collects the whole series for the first time, actually. Uh, and this is, I mean, I've talked before on these videos that I love Osamu Tezuka. I mean, I'm a huge fan. He's the grandfather of manga. So I mean, I don't want to say I grew up with him because he started like in the 50s. Some of these, this was published for his first times in the 50s, but it was really big in the 70s and 80s. His animation, and then I got really into his manga too. So I think it was one of those, it was one of the grandfathers that got me into manga and anime. And this story is, it's amazing, and you will be able to see there was a lot of other media that maybe got inspired by this, and it's uh the Princess Sapphire, and it's born into this world, and uh because an angel played sort of a trick. She was born with two hearts. They were born with two hearts, so it's the heart of a boy and the heart of a girl. And um the the princess at some point decides to, so she has that duality, and that the two genders, basically she grows up with two genders, and they explain it as in the two different hearts, which is very, and they present it in a very beautiful. Bear in mind, this came out in the 50s,
Yeah, I
by
was
the
about
way.
to say,
This
like,
came out in the 50s.
that's very progressive for
Yes, it's
something that
extremely
came out.
progressive.
Yeah.
And um the story continues that when she, she's older, she decides to show herself as a boy, because in the kingdom she grows up, only men are allowed to be king. So, but it's a beautiful story, lots of action in it, and it's obviously a lot of politics, but also a lot of talk about gender and gender identity, and about women's place in society, and how obviously there's an evil duke. I forget if it's her dad, or it's got to be like her uncle, maybe, because he doesn't know that she's a girl, so, and that doesn't want her or him, they don't want they to become the king. And I remember there's a anime series, and then there was an anime movie that came out in 1999, and I think that's the first one I ever saw. And then from there, I started watching everything else. So I'm really excited about this. I love that it's coming out on this one single collection, and we're seeing a lot of Osamu Tezuka's work coming out this way, and I love it. I think we should do more and more and more and more, and just do everything. And he has so much that it could fill out a whole library. Really,
Mhm.
highly recommend it.
Next up is my pick, Those Not So Sweet Boys. I put both volume 7 and 8 here. Volume 7 coming out on sale July 12th, and then volume 8 coming out on January 31st in 2023. It's well, the release date for that is next year, so we don't have the cover for that yet. So the cover that you're seeing here is the volume 7.
Mm.
So I picked this mostly because, I mean, this like let me just tell you a little bit about it.
Yeah.
It's about this main character Midori, who like loses her wallet, and she is helped by this boy. And rumor has it this boy is friends with like this trio of boys that you see on the cover here. And the rumor is that they're expelled, they're like bad boys, and they're delinquents. But like,
Not so
she can
sweet boys.
not so sweet boys, but it's kind of confusing because if she lost her wallet, like it doesn't make sense. Like the rumor versus like what she
The actions.
experienced,
Yeah.
right? The
Yeah.
actions. And so she is like a hardworking student, but she has to get a part-time job and that's not allowed at the school. And so she's at risk for being expelled as well. And the school basically gives her the option of, we'll forget about this expulsion if you try to bring these three boys back to class. Um, so it's her sort of duty now to try to get them back into school. And the reason why I like these kind of stories is I like stories with characters that are like polar opposites of each other or seemingly so.
Mhm.
And friendships, I mean, I definitely would want to see the friendship between these three boys and the main character here.
Oh yeah.
And so it just seems like a very sweet story, despite the fact that the title is this. They're probably yeah. So this is everything that
Yeah.
I like in a manga. So this is one of my picks for this week.
Awesome.
Mhm. All right, next up.
Next up, Go Go Loser Ranger #1, Negi Haruba. This comes out until October 18th. I love this.
This seems so cool.
This is probably gonna be my favorite new thing. First of all, Neji Hiruba, if it sounds familiar, he's the creator of the quintessential quintuplets, which is such a fun manga, and they made it into a really fun anime too. So you know this is gonna be so much fun. Um, so 13 years ago, I'm going to read real quick the script part of the description. 13 years ago, an evil army of mysterious alien monsters invaded the earth, but the great protectors of mankind, the divine dragon rangers, rose up to stop them. To this day, the fate of the earth hangs on in the balance of the fierce struggle continues to unfold. Or does it? So here's the thing. So in reality, 13 years ago, the aliens came in and they have these monsters that threw out, and the divine dragon rangers, of course, the rangers, defeated them right away. It only took them a year, but they kept sort of so they forced the aliens to keep simulating these battles and throwing monsters at them so they can keep up this appearance in front of the world and keep being hailed as heroes.
Mhm.
And for 13 years this has been going on, but one of the aliens says this is enough, and he rebels, and he infiltrates the dragon rangers, and now he's going to make them pay from the inside. I love everything about this. This is such an amazing idea. and, and especially for those of us that have watched, Power Rangers and all the other like Ultraman and all the other kaiju sort of superhero shows. And especially because it seems it's sort of twisting the dynamic and saying, well, maybe they were bad, but maybe these other guys are bad, and they're always praising them at the end, and they're always like looking really sharp in front of the camera. Maybe this is why, because they're just pretending. So I can't wait to read this. I think this is going to be awesome. Highly recommend it. I think it's going to be great.
Mhm. Cool. Right, and my next pick is Yokai Cats, the Volume 1, and this goes on sale on October 25th. And this is story and art by Pendania.
Yep,
And
sure.
this one is, as the title implies, yokai cats. These cats are supernatural. What is interesting though is if you're into like Japanese folklore, the cats will take on abilities that you see in famous like I guess beings, like this
Yeah.
one cat who has an elongated neck and this wall this wall cat that I very much appreciate. And this is the interiors, and it's like this for all of the pages. This is full colored, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So if you like cat manga and you know yokai cats, then
Yeah.
this is the manga for you. So,
Yes.
mhm.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. And next up, we have our cover picks for this week.
No, before that, we
Oh,
have
wait, there's more?
no. The next one is, well, I guess it is the cover picks.
Yeah. Well,
Dark
yeah.
Spaces,
Yeah, I
Wildfire
guess.
number one.
Hmm.
Yes. So you want to talk a little bit about what this is?
Yeah, yeah, I'll talk about it. So, this is Scott Snyder and Hayden Sherman. You'll see the cover images here with some variant covers as well. This is a thriller anthology series with desperate people in desperate situations. And in this particular one, there's five women who are incarcerated and are fighting a wildfire. And while that is happening, they try to pull off a heist, which I think is so
Mhm.
cool.
Amazing.
The concept. Um, I like the concept of the dark spaces line because it takes like dark claustrophobic spaces and these stories told in a very character driven like narrative.
Mhm.
And so this line that you see here, uh, wildfires, is just the beginning of an intended line that it will be curated by Scott Snyder. So Scott Snyder will bring in other talents for other books in the line. So once Wildfire is done, you like keep an eye out for part of IDW Originals. You'll see more titles come out of this.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for this. So
Yeah, me
you'll
too.
see the Sherman uh, cover up on the screen here, and then Sorrentino, which is
Yeah.
that's the variant A, and then Sorrentino is the variant B.
And I have a feeling, obviously, these are very dark covers, but
Hmm.
I feel like these are some of those, especially Sorrentino, that is going to look whole lot better
Hmm.
in person, in paper, versus on the screen. So I can't wait to see it in real life.
And then you'll see the Congus variant C,
Yeah.
variant D, Loite variant.
Yeah.
It's just very bright fluorescent colors that they use. It's
Yeah. It's
very beautiful.
interesting, especially Conga, because Congas tend to use a lot of color like that. But
Hmm.
they use a pink, but you still know that it's a fire, which is
Hmm.
great. It's amazing.
So definitely something you would want to pick up for this FOC.
Yeah.
And continuing on, we have
Oh, these are two of my picks. We have
uh-huh.
Amazing Spider-Man number 5, Dotterman Hellfire Gala variant. And then we also, for Amazing Spider-Man 5, we have the Mercado, Miguel Mercado variant. We have a lot of these Hellfire Gala variants coming out. There's all sorts of things. Obviously, big, huge fan of Spider-Man. And I think this being his suit for the Hellfire Gala is very appropriate. I especially like the sneakers sort of look at the of the feet, and it's sort of a combination of like a little bit like the future, Spider-Man 2099 suit, but with a modern look. But it's also look. I feel like this is what somebody like Nike or Adidas will come up with if they were to design the Spider-Man suit. That's what my first thought was when I looked at this. And then Miguel Mercado, just an amazing artist, and he's been doing a few like every once in a while he does these variants for Spider-Man, and I love them always. He really shows the aerodynamics and the gravity defiance of Spider-Man in his art. In this one, it's very simple with a white background, but so much going on at the same time with the webbing and the post and all of that, and a post that obviously only Spider-Man can do.
Hmm. Hmm.
Next. And next is also my pick. X-Men Hellfire Gala Argent variant. And we have the trade dress on the right and the Virgin variant on the left. Uh, very classic Argent, very, very cool. I've talked so many times about my love for Stanley Argent's art, and I had the honor of meeting him and getting a couple of autographs a couple of
Mhm.
weeks ago at MegaCon in Orlando. It's very, very, uh, very amazing, and it's. I love that he stuck to what he does best, which is just showing sort of the bust and very beautiful, the face, and but there's still a lot of action in there too,
Mhm.
which is great. With Jean Grey, obviously.
Next up is my cover pick for this week. I've said this before.
Yeah,
I am just a huge fan of Maria Wolf.
Maria Wolf.
If you haven't looked into Maria Wolf, it's a
Yeah,
disservice. Like, check out her Facebook, Instagram. It's like the art that she does is so detailed.
yeah.
And so, like, the amount of detail that you see on this cover, it's so
I know.
beautiful. I love it so much.
And like you said, if you go through her social media and look at her
Yeah,
Instagram and her Twitter, you see all the art, and she has a lot of in there, a lot of like black and white art, and even with the color, it looks so amazing because it's
so
so
beautiful.
detailed, so many lines,
Yeah,
so many lines in her art that
yeah.
it's just crazy. And
Uh-huh.
I guess I was looking into it because I was curious because she's done work on the voices, both the heritage, which is for Native Americans, and then also the community, which is the one for Hispanics. And I guess she is Mexican American. She puts a Mexican flag next to the U.S. flag, and she's from Chicago on her social media. But I guess there's also some Native American involved in there because was part of the Native American, the heritage
Mhm.
voices. But her art is just gorgeous, and there's I noticed also there's going to be a few more covers coming for Marvel the rest of the year, so be on the lookout for those.
Yeah, yeah. This is Sabretooth, issue number 5, but, like, I remember, like, the Spider-Punk cover that
Yeah, she did
Maria
the
Wolf
Spider.
did.
Oof.
So, so
Yeah,
beautiful the way
and there's
that
an amazing Spider-Man coming up. I forget the issue, but it's one of the ones that are coming up
Yeah,
soon.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
just Spider-Man, with a
With the
camera,
camera.
just
Yeah.
standing on top of a
Mhm.
light post, I guess. But
Uh,
it's just this basic image, but then done her way with all the lines
with all the yeah.
it's the texture of it. It's amazing. Like
It
this one, it just has all so much to look at.
she's, like, one of those artists where, like, she knows her identity. Like, she knows
Yeah,
what type
yes,
of
yeah,
art she does. It's
exactly.
very
It's one of
much
those
her
artists that you look at her art and oh, I bet this is
immediately.
Mario Wolf. Of course,
Exactly.
and she sticks to it, and she still makes it so interesting every single.
Yeah. Yeah, because there could be times where, like, maybe artists fall into, like, a very similar, like,
Hmm.
pattern, but, like, anytime I see her art, it's just so diverse and interesting while still being her own.
Yeah,
That's why I love her
I
art
agree.
so much. So, yeah,
Yeah,
I could go on, but
yeah, we
I'll
could
move
go
on
on and
here.
on and on. And then this is mine. It's Jane Foster and the Mighty Thor #2. This is the Momoko variant, and you can see here Valkyrie on top of the Pegasus. I forget if the Pegasus has a name. I forget. But and Momoko. I mean, we're both huge fans of
Oh yeah.
Momoko. We've been
Mhm.
talking about Momoko almost every week. We talk about Momoko, and this is no exception. This
Mhm.
is from this series. I know for sure she did covers for the issue 1. This is #2, and then for 3, the first one was Jane Foster. The third one is going to be Thor. Uh, Out of the 3, this is my favorite. It just so beautiful. It is also, I mean, Momoko is like Mario Wolf, one of those artists that has a style that you recognize automatically, but she also does very different things with it, and you can see how how well she masters this. And you and I were talking about this, that recently I found out, I didn't know that she was trained she was trained first at the beginning as a tattoo artist, and
Mhm.
then she made it into the comic world and stayed there and then did do tattoos. But you can see that kind of through her art. And this is sort of a big example. This could be an amazing tattoo for sure.
Uh, I wonder if she gets asked to do tattoos for
Probably.
someone. Yeah,
Probably.
I would imagine so.
I wonder how
Uh,
much it costs though to get her to do your tattoo for you at this
yeah.
point, right?
Uh-huh.
And this is also my pick, Fortnite X Marvel Zero War #2 by Bjorn Burns variant, sorry. And it has Victor Doom here and a character from Fortnite. Sorry, not a Fortnite player, so I don't know who it is, but this looks amazing, looks beautiful with that satellite dish in the back and sort of either snowing or raining. It's just gorgeous. And there's also a lot of, obviously a lot of covers for Fortnite X Marvel the series, but some of them, they're all beautiful, but there's some that are just beyond, and this is one of them. This is, and Bjorn Berens is another one that I've become a big fan of. This German artist, cover artist, which is uh he also has his own style, and he's been crossing over to a lot of books. Obviously, he uh, he has done stuff for Image and for DC a lot, but he's doing a lot more for Marvel too. And there's look out for some of the covers that he's going to be doing for Alien and for Ghost Rider. He has done some already, and he's doing more, and they're all very beautiful, like this art right here. So I highly recommend it. And that's it for this week. It was a long video. We apologize for that, but I hope you enjoyed it. It's just we had a lot to say this week about the
Yeah.
titles that we picked. Um, I just want to mention real quick that any of the opinions that G and I express in these videos are our own and in no way reflect the opinions of Penguin Random House, its imprints, or the publishers we distribute. Like I mentioned before, we have PRH International Comics and social media. Look us up and like this video, subscribe because we're going to be adding some more content to this channel too. And thank you so much.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.